Hello, and welcome to A Lady Well Traveled. I'm your host and creator, Shannon Bednarova, and I'm absolutely thrilled that you joined us today. If this happens to be your very first time tuning into the program, let me give you a quick overview of where we usually go. The show is entirely dedicated to exploring this magnificent world of ours with completely new eyes that are wide open to learning, meeting incredible people, and deeply experiencing new cultures. We want to taste unfamiliar cuisines, walk down the winding paths of new civilizations, and maybe find a little bit of magic along the way. I'll share practical travel tips, hard learned lessons, and savvy advice that I've gathered from my own journeys and help you transform your travel into something far more meaningful, intentional, and let's be honest, a whole lot less stressful. Today, I am delighted to have a guest on the show and to share her stories and experiences in the travel world with you. Her name is Eleanor, and she's with Elevate Your Escapes. Now, Eleanor has traveled to over 70 countries, and she brings her travel experience to you through her website, her travel blog, and through her travel agency, where she advises and assists clients in planning bespoke and immersive travel experiences all over the world. Welcome to A Lady Well Traveled, Eleanor.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here. And I like to think of myself as a lady well traveled too.
I love that. I love that. Eleanor, please share how you began your journey, every pun intended here, into the world of travel and what inspired you to start your business.
So I didn't travel. And then even after university, I had done a study abroad, but I don't think I appreciated it the way that I would now. Spending 2 months in Italy or on the Med is my dream that I get to live now. And I'm so happy about that. But in 2019, I started to become more interested in traveling. I was working in my early 20s and finally had some money of my own to do my own thing. And some of my friends had gone on extended trips. I had quite a few friends who had the time and had these amazing celebrations after taking the bar around Europe. I was looking at them doing it and really getting inspired. So some of my friends had helped me to take my first big adult European trip out in Portugal,
Mhm.
and then I had gone to London. Then I kind of got the travel bug. I was looking for opportunities where I could go out and travel, but not have to bring friends along with me because it was tough to find people to travel with. I feel
Sure.
like even now, but more so in our 20s, money was tight. A lot of people had expenses of rent. I actually moved back home and with my mom to save
Mhm.
some money. So
Mhm.
very luckily, I had some extra cash for travel and I found a young adult group travel company. I went to Costa Rica and then extended solo there. I rented a car and drove from Manuel Antonio all the way up to Tamarindo on my own. And through that experience, I had the most amazing time, and I was hooked. So on that trip, I spent my first part with this young adult travel company, and I met other young people like myself who were telling me about their trips to Peru and to Spain and to all of these places that I hadn't yet been, and it all sounded amazing. We know what happened in early 2020 and travel was
Mhm.
kind of on hold, but as soon as the world started reopening for travel, I got out there. The day that Greece announced that they were reopening to travelers, I believe it was in June 2021, I booked my trip. I took the last spot on another young adult travel group for September 2021.
Mhm.
And I went and I had what I still consider to be the best week of my life. Greece was always my
Mhm.
dream destination. I'm a big water person. I love to swim. I love to just look at the bright blues of the water. I love to be on boats. I also really love Greek culture, and I had the opportunity to be exposed to that early on growing up in Brooklyn. We knew a lot of Greek people. We went to the authentic Greek restaurants, not the gyro spot on the corner, but the
Right,
true
right.
Greek restaurants. And it was the most amazing time. We had 14 people come, and all of us were solo. Everybody was ready to have the best time together, really open to becoming friends and
Sure.
really lifelong friends. I made some lifelong friends on that trip. Actually, I have one of my friends who lives in the neighborhood right next to me, that I met in Greece. Funny enough, we love telling the story when people ask us how we met. And then there's actually someone else who has booked several trips with me as well.
Mhm.
And I still keep in contact. But I was so glad that I took that leap to take my first solo trip, because now I've been to so many different countries. I've been to 70 countries now, and almost all of them I have been to after that experience in 2019.
I think that's fabulous. I also love on your website, there's a quote from you, which I'm going to paraphrase, which goes a little something like this. I'm the one who's known among my friends and family as the one who travels because I have that distinction as well. Now, do you think the desire to travel is a calling, a blessing, a challenge, a motivation to live a larger, maybe a bigger and better life? Or can it be all of those things at once?
I think it's all of the things at once.
Mhm.
And of course, I've had the most amazing experiences, but we've also had challenges in
Absolutely.
our travels as well. I think my motivation in starting to travel, I became more of a curious person than I already was.
Mhm.
And, I love now being bolder and going to places that people haven't really heard of or heard of their
Right.
circles, friends traveling to.
Mhm.
And I think that's great. I also like to consider, though, the people who might not have the funds to travel. I think the benefits of travel can be experienced anywhere, right? So it could also be
Absolutely.
going to a neighborhood or a town within driving distance that you've never been to before,
Mhm.
and meeting new people, going to a local restaurant. So it doesn't have to be these far off places that,
Yes.
a lot of travelers will talk about. So I just like to think about that too. But yeah, I have become known as the one who is always traveling, and that helped me start my business, Elevate Your
Mhm.
Escapes. So I had acquaintances, and then acquaintances like cousins, someone from college shared my information with their cousin, and they reached out to me for travel tips and information. And this was before I had my business. I kind of said, why don't I monetize this? So people were
Mhm.
asking me, can I travel with you? How are you doing this? All of these questions, and I was happy to share this information. But I said, you know what, why don't I try this as a business?
Mhm.
And now it's my livelihood. So it's been an amazing journey turning this passion, right? And, of course, in
Mhm.
2019, when I was scared to go out on my
Sure.
own, I never imagined I'd be where I am today.
Yeah, absolutely. And what a wonderful thing that you get to do is take your passion and then share that passion with others. I think that's phenomenal. I think the call to travel also requires some fearlessness on our part, a sense of courage, and maybe really not caring so much about making mistakes because Lord knows I've made a ton of mistakes in my traveling. But it's also about knowing that in the end, I think it's going to turn out okay because people, anywhere you go, whether it's down the street, around the world, most people are kind and good and they all want the same things we do. And they are willing to reach out and go, here, let me show you, let me help you. Come on in, have a cup of coffee, have some tea. I think a lot of people really are afraid of making mistakes and they're afraid of, oh, what if something goes wrong? Well, What if something goes right on your trip? What if you do make a mistake and it could be the best mistake ever because you could meet the best person or your future husband or wife or your future best friend or have an experience that you never considered having? That's one of the things that I appreciate so much about having the travel bug and feeling that it is a calling, a motivation, a challenge, all of those things. How do you feel about that?
Absolutely. I think
Mhm.
from a courage perspective, on my first trip, I read hundreds of reviews about this travel company. And I look back and I realize that, you know what, it was very silly to have this fear that if I let the fear take over, could have prevented me from going, right?
Sure.
Because
Yeah.
that absolutely changed my life. And I think what you were saying about making mistakes, I think travel is always going to throw us curveballs.
Right.
We're
Yeah.
gonna make the mistakes, and then life is going to happen, right?
Yes.
Train strikes in Europe being
Yeah.
a great example. I've had to change my itinerary because of them, but you know what? I learned my lesson, and now I have an international driver's permit that I keep with me, even if I
Mhm.
don't intend to drive,
Sure.
just in case, opening up options. Luckily, wasn't a big deal, and we made it work. Another instance that comes to mind, my first trip was in the US. We are very accustomed to having automatic cars, right? Automatic transmission.
Yes.
And
Uh-huh.
in a lot of countries abroad, they have manual
Of
transmissions.
course.
And when you rent a car, if you can't drive what they call stick,
A
right?
stick.
You
Yeah.
need to make sure you book an automatic.
Automatic. Yeah.
So when I get to the rental car company in Costa Rica, they told me they didn't have any more
My
automatic.
goodness.
They only
Okay.
had
Fun.
manual. I said, "That's not gonna work." Well, you know what? They were fibbing a little bit with me. They
Uh-huh.
were trying to give me a manual or have me pick up the car the next day, but that was not happening.
Yeah.
And I just kind of had to push through that situation, get a little stern about my booking. But it's something I always watch out for now, right? Because
Yeah.
that could have sent me back a day, that could have had me have to buy a new hotel room where I was, not be able to use the hotel room where I was
Sure.
going. Weather, of course, right? Throws us a curveball.
Mhm.
We're
Of
just talking a
course.
little bit about river cruises. I have some clients who are supposed to be sailing the Danube right now, but they have been moved to land. They are still having an amazing time and seeing all the things. And hey, maybe seeing some World
Mhm.
War II ships that they would not have
That's
seen otherwise.
right. Yeah.
That sounds cool to me, but they are embracing the change. I talked to
Absolutely.
them last night, and that's kind of what you just have to do, right? You have to be open and flexible
Mhm.
and just have this appreciation for where you're going and the people you're going to be with. And then to your point too about the people you meet around the world, I did want to touch on that because the hospitality that I have encountered traveling really all over is unmatched. It's amazing. And all the people, they make me feel very safe. And I travel by myself a lot. So that is important. I've also found too people in the service industry, and maybe they treat everybody this nice, but I feel as though sometimes they treat me a little bit extra special when they see me by myself to
Mhm.
make me feel comfortable and make me feel welcome and ensure that I have a great experience. And I super appreciate that. Back home, I live in New York City. I do find people around the world and even in different US areas to be a bit more hospitable and a little safer than I find folks back home in New York. I
Sure.
don't find anywhere that I am traveling any more dangerous than walking down a New York City street. And this is where I grew up. So it's something I'm accustomed to, right? I talk to a lot of clients who are going to Europe for the first time. Those are really my some of my favorite clients to work with because there's so much value and information that I can share with them. But they've heard of the pickpockets, they've heard of the scams. But of course, you have to remain vigilant in any city that you're in.
Anyone.
Maybe you want to be a little extra vigilant in a Barcelona or a Rome, but you really should, as a traveler, know, right, what's going on around you,
Mhm.
or even as a person, honestly, anywhere. I don't find that we really have to adjust being ourselves anywhere else.
Right, absolutely. When you and I first spoke about doing this podcast together, we discovered that many different aspects of travel that we had in common. We talked about our favorite places to visit, the healing aspects of travel, how we felt that some terms, destinations, and recommendations involving travel were being overused, worn out, misunderstood. We both agreed that we felt authenticity in travel and in the travel experience was really the most important thing. The major goal that we wanted to deliver to our clients and to our audience. How do you address keeping the whole experience authentic? And I'm talking about like the authenticity of place, culture, cuisine, language. First and foremost, when you're planning travel experiences for your clients.
Well, the big word is local, right?
Okay. Yeah.
I am a huge proponent of responsible travel, which includes hiring local tour operators, local guides. Unfortunately, in the travel industry, there are a lot of massive companies owned elsewhere, owned in the US, Australia, the UK, that
Mhm.
operate in many countries around the world. Africa definitely comes to mind. 85% of African tourism owned abroad. And
Yes.
that's where the money is going, right? We have to be really mindful to make sure that we are supporting local communities and local.
Mhm. Yes.
And I always love to put my clients in local boutique hotels. As much as we love our loyalty status at XYZ chain, consider the local boutique hotels, consider local business as well. I like to say, I know the coffee shop you get your coffee at every morning might be a chain and it might feel like home, but consider a local coffee shop, or in a lot of places, we can visit coffee farms and coffee plantations. That's super, super fun. And then,
Yeah.
of course, local restaurants, skip those chains. Also, I would say skip the tourist traps, right? Walk
Yeah,
away
exactly.
from
Yeah.
the attraction around the corner to go to Verna or what have you. Look at the menus. If they're printed in English, maybe try to find one that's not. If there are pictures on the menu, that's even more telling, right? But I think partnering with travel advisors and travel experts like myself can help you and help
Mhm.
guide you into these more local, authentic experiences. Then you may be able to find your own. But still, if you have the time, you can certainly do a lot of research online to try to find these local places. But make sure you just dive a little bit deeper into that and
Mhm.
ensure again that your money is being spent locally.
I like that. That's a great answer. Why do you think that so many travelers are fatigued or kind of like, meh, about hearing about luxury travel experiences? Because do you think that's because everybody's promising that nowadays?
Sure. The word is overused,
Oh,
and I think
absolutely.
travelers are now accustomed to seeing the word be overused. There's a lot of operators and even cruise lines, hotels that are using the word luxury that are not true
Uh-huh.
luxury. But
Uh-huh.
luxury is different to everybody, right?
Uh-huh.
So people can find luxury and luxury experiences in new places that they haven't been. So the industry standard of luxury is then different, right?
Mhm. I think that's really important too because I know when I'm planning trips and talking to friends and we're discussing, okay, this is what we're going to do, or when I'm asking questions about a tour and I say, this is what I want, defining luxury is important because if I want to take a cruise, then this is what I want. If I want to go on safari, this is what I want. If I want to go to the Amalfi Coast, this is what I want. So luxury can mean so many different things. I love great food. I love great wine, but are there areas in which I'm willing to compromise? Certainly there are. I love it's great that you said you love the water. I'm a scuba diver. I'd rather be in or on the water than anywhere. I'm always looking for accommodations on the water, near the water, opportunities to swim, be in a pool. That's important to me. Having your clients talk about that, is that something that you try to get them to articulate when you're planning a trip?
Absolutely. I think luxury overall should
Yeah,
mean service the way you want it.
right.
And
Absolutely.
some will want that high-end luxury, they'll want the butler service, if you will,
Mhm.
that comes with a resort to anticipate their needs before they even say what they're looking for and kind of over service. Now, another person could just want peace and quiet, and the
Yes.
luxury service to them is leave me alone once I ask for something, right?
Yes.
So again, it's so different. I think the perception of luxury
Mhm.
is that crystal chandelier, right?
Right.
No, that's not what luxury is, and it doesn't have to be that. There's also a relaxed luxury.
Mm,
So, luxury to some travelers, and I'm thinking about cruise lines again, is being able to wear whatever they want to the dining hall
mhm.
in the evening,
Mhm.
right? They've
Yes.
had a long day, they might be on an expedition, they might be in Alaska, they could be anywhere, and they just wanna wear their sweatpants or they wanna wear
Mhm.
their shorts, and a lot more luxury cruise lines and even luxury resorts, they do have dress codes, and
Oh,
some of
yeah.
them have changed in more recent years, hearing feedback that clients just wanna wear what they wanna wear. There's
Mhm.
a luxury cruise line that's top of mind for me right now because I sailed with them last May, and at the time, the policy was no jeans in public
Mhm.
places after
Mhm.
6 PM. So if you were wearing jeans, you would not get seated at any of the
Mhm.
restaurants, you would not be served a
Mhm.
drink in a bar, and people didn't like that. People who are spending a lot of money on this cruise line wanna wear what they wanna wear, and they found that that policy was kind of old school and not representative of the modern traveler. So the dress code changed actually, I think a couple
Mhm.
of months after I had sailed on that line, but I saw them. They held to that. I think that the experience of just having what you want and the type of experience you want, and then also being able to customize the experience that you're getting is luxury. We see different hotels and resorts and things, they have special programs set up to cater to specific asks and requests of clients, and I think that these tour operators really make the experience very special for
Mhm.
their clients.
Absolutely. You and I were wanting to talk about a few examples to share with our listeners today. And when we talk about differing definitions of luxury, I'm one of those people who like to dress up on a cruise. I actually enjoy it. I know what you mean. One of the things I always love to talk about is the experience at the inn at Little Washington. Until just this year, it's always been a 3 Michelin star resort. This year, they got 2 stars, but they're working to get their third star back. That's what I think when I think of luxury. Just every detail. Everyone knows your name. Everything is just perfect. I don't know how they get it to be way. The cuisine's perfect, the afternoon tea is perfect, the breakfast is perfect. When you go to your room, just the little details from the perfectly placed chocolates to the little package of homemade sweets that they've got to all of your amenities to the fresh flowers that are in your room, the fresh fruit, everything is perfect. I went on Rovos Rail in Africa and they advertised themselves as the epitome, the most luxurious train you'll ever be on. And in some aspects, that was true. In some aspects, it wasn't. Because if you're used to the trains that travel around Europe or even the United States, they're very smooth and nice. Rovis Rail was like riding in a 4x4 down a extremely bumpy road, and you'd be laying in bed going, "My," and it was crazy. But that was Africa, of course. And in some aspects, it was incredibly luxurious. In some aspects, it really wasn't. So it just depended. If I was doing their marketing, I might change it to a luxurious adventure. A train in front of us derailed, and we had to disembark the train in the middle of the bush for several days. It's a thing that happens. What would you share as some examples of differing levels of luxury?
Sure, I love those examples. I was cracking up, but I think what you mentioned, even luxury or what's considered luxury in one part of the world or one country could be very different in another part of the world. And a few examples came to mind. One, four-star hotel and resorts does mean something different in the
Yes.
US than it does
Yes.
in other countries. I think in the US we hold four-star to a higher tier than you will see abroad. So when I talk to, I have these well vetted, some of my favorite properties to put you at, and they are a little bit more expensive. You could see the place next door or on the same street is also marked four-star or is marked four-star and this is 4.5 or, and you see that it's like half the price and there is a reason why. right? Even sometimes four-star in other places in the world do not have air conditioning,
Mhm.
do not have elevators requiring you to carry your luggage up flights of stairs. And for some of us, no problem. But others, for whatever reason, just don't
Mhm.
want to, or accessibility needs, or even you plan on carrying a lot with you, that's not going to work. So that came into mind as well. And then something else too I was thinking of as you were speaking is hospitality in
Yeah.
some countries is just absolutely top notch. We
Yes.
would consider maybe in the US if we were greeted by a freshly brewed tea and
Mhm.
towel and never touching our bags upon arrival, we would probably consider that luxurious in the US. But in other countries, that is custom. In
Right, that's a
Morocco,
bare minimum. Yeah.
right? Or
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely bare minimum. In Morocco, you do not touch your bags. We were asked very kindly by our tour operator, please allow the porters and the staff from the hotel to transport your bags because that's their job and they take that very seriously and they want to provide that service for you.
Right.
But we're
Mhm.
used to in the US schlepping our bags around ourselves,
It's
right?
right.
That's just custom. The tea upon arrival and the snacks, custom in Morocco, also custom in Vietnam, the way that they
Mhm.
greet guests. And they don't just stand at the counter and swipe your credit card and send you your room key. They sit down with you. They get to know you a little bit. They help you fill out your paperwork upon arrival. Then they walk you to
Mhm.
your room, and I'm not even talking about top luxury resorts. Like this is again is fairly
Mhm.
standard. They'll
Mhm.
walk you into your room. They'll show you around the room. They'll show you the features of the room, how you open the curtains, how you operate the safe,
I
how you
love
operate
that.
a coffee machine. And that's
Mhm.
just the hospitality they provide, which to travelers like me who are not used to that, that feels luxury. That feels like the extra
Absolutely.
special.
Yeah.
So I love that. I also love when you said luxury can mean something different. You could also decide where to splurge and where to save on your
Mhm.
trips. I'm very much like you. I love that food and wine. And I'm
Mhm.
going to pay for those types of special
Sure.
experiences. And I think that luxury suppliers, luxury tour operators, what makes them true luxury is that not only can they service clients well, but they can provide special experiences that you
Mhm.
would not get on your own. You would not be able to have let's say a special table at the vineyard or at the wine bar overlooking the vineyard. You wouldn't be able to have a little private tour with the owner in a small vineyard. I'm just thinking of these
Mhm.
luxury experiences that
Sure.
we can curate. I think they provide a lot of flexibility as well, thinking about luxury yachts or luxury. They're not all
Mhm.
yachts, it could be mini cruisers, but private
Sure.
boats becoming super popular in Croatia. And by the
Yes.
way, some people might be surprised at how affordable these types of
Mhm.
trips can be as well. You know, they're not tens of thousands of dollars. If you split one of these boats or find an operator that splits the boat, you can spend a couple thousand, which includes food and
Mhm.
activities and all of that, and find actually that being on a very nice luxury cruiser, they call them mini cruisers, could be more affordable than if you did the trip by land and piece
Absolutely.
together, right, the resort and the food and the transportation, the ferries and what have you. But I sailed with Via Croatia out in Croatia last year, and
Mhm.
I had never done an experience like this. I had never been on a private, we called it yacht, but mini cruiser,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
going to really special places, being taken to an oyster farm for a private demonstration and lunch and like some of the most fresh seafood anyone will ever eat anywhere.
Yeah.
It was really, really amazing. And the company provided that flexibility. I think also luxury clients could look for flexibility within their day. Are they tired? Do they need a nap?
Mhm.
Do they wanna
Mhm.
do more because they
Right.
have more energy? Or is the weather a little cooler than expected so we can do more
Sure.
in the day and not get tired? So I love the flexibility of going on luxury trips as well.
Absolutely. There are so many different places around the world that provide exceptional experiences. I want to impart to our audience is talk to whomever you're working with. If you're deciding that you might want to give Eleanor a call to help you with your next trip, be open, be honest. tell Eleanor, this is important to me, but maybe I can cut back or do less here, but this is what I really want. And she'll work with you. What are the destinations you're recommending right now for your well heeled clients and the clients that are hoping to be well heeled one day?
Yeah, so Sardinia is
Uh-huh. I
coming up,
love
is
Sardinia. That's a great
surging in.
place. Yeah.
Yeah, surging in tourism now. We just got a nonstop flight, JFK, to Sardinia last year, and,
Oh.
the the numbers are gonna grow, and it's such a beautiful place, and I love it there because you're not seeing a lot of other tourists there,
Mhm.
so you have, the opportunity to relax and kick back and really experience the absolutely beautiful turquoise waters there. So that's definitely somewhere that I am recommending to my clients right now. Similarly, Sicily. Now, Sicily has
Mhm.
always been somewhat of a tourist destination, but they had a bad reputation for a while about
Mhm.
being a little dirty, maybe a little dangerous. But Sicily is surging in tourism right now. And now is the time to go because it is just going to continue to grow.
Mhm.
So I would definitely recommend if you have not been to Sicily, put that on your radar. We're also seeing safaris grow in interest. So again, if you haven't been, now is the time before it gets even more crowded. And luckily a lot of the parks and conservation areas do limit the number of safari vehicles, travelers that are coming through. So that is regulated for the land, for the animals, for the local people. But I'm definitely recommending anybody who has not been on safari to get out there. I just went to Tanzania. They call it Tanzania there. I've been told either pronunciation is correct, but I just had the most incredible experience ever. And now I want to talk to everybody and tell them about the lions that I got super close to and the giraffes and the elephants because I'm an animal lover and it's unlike anything else to go on safari, right?
Absolutely.
And then one of the questions that I get asked often, and I have a very clear answer to, is what do you think is an underrated destination or the most underrated destination? For me, that is Slovenia. It
Mhm.
is such a beautiful country, well worth visiting. The people are very nice. And what's great is it's not as well traveled yet. So the prices there are
Mhm.
not anywhere near what you will see in a European hotspot like Rome,
Right.
Barcelona, Paris. It's very affordable to visit. And you can also pair it. I'm on a trip with another country around the region. Maybe it's
Mhm.
Croatia. That's actually what I did. I tacked it on to the end of my first trip to Croatia, took the train from Zagreb up to Ljubljana, and it was the best decision I could have made. So I'm definitely talking about that with my clients as well, in addition to so many other countries around the world based on their interest, right?
It's fantastic. Thank you for sharing that. Now, I also saw on your website that you specialize in honeymoons. So tell our listeners about one or two fantasy honeymoons that you've curated for your clients.
Yeah, I love working on honeymoons, right? It's a once in a lifetime or more than once
Yeah.
in a lifetime trip, but we'll think about it as once in a lifetime for people. I love being part of the special planning and the memories. Again, I'm a water person, so the first trips that come to mind have to do with the water. Greece is my favorite country and probably the second most sought out honeymoon destination by my clients. I would say number 1 is going to be Italy, number 2 Greece, and I just get excited anytime we start talking about Greece. I've sent clients to really nice hotels with private pools overlooking the crater in Santorini, and that is
Mhm.
just absolutely top notch in my experience. It's just an absolutely unforgettable, super special view, and the service and the food, all of that. We see Tahiti is also growing in popularity. I've sent clients to overwater bungalows, and that was something that popped into my mind when you said something that you really want and need to have versus something you are willing to compromise on. Because I have clients say, I need to stay in a bungalow, and that is my one thing. And I know I might have to pay for it or I will have to pay for it, but I'm willing to stay at a more moderate hotel on another part of the trip, right? Which makes the planning and the budgeting understandable for me.
Mhm.
So that's something that people really, really want to do. But those are dream destinations, right? And they're so far off. I do have some clients who don't fly. So
Mhm.
talk about and curate and tailor different experiences for them, either closer to home, within driving distance, or train travel, Amtrak, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Or cruise where they can stay on a ship and see multiple destinations but never have to get on a plane. Everything is super tailored and fantasy to the person we're delivering the experience for.
I love that. I know that you have your favorite destinations around the world and you list on your website where you've been. I think that's fabulous. I encourage people to go to your website. If I had to recommend places to go for travelers right now, it wouldn't be most of Europe anyway. I'd be talking about Galapagos, Peru, which I love that you love. Bhutan, Sri Lanka, Palawan in the Philippines, Zanzibar, Albania, Montenegro, maybe Poland. I'm Slovakian. I also would recommend Slovakia, Slovenia too. We talked about where you're sending folks in the next few years. I love the fact that you've shared so many great, great suggestions with our folks. This has been fabulous. Any final thoughts, piece of advice, wisdom about travel that you'd like to impart to our audience?
Absolutely. I mean, you mentioned so many incredible destinations. There is a whole world out there,
Yes. Amen.
right, for us to see. Just because, the Colosseum in Rome is iconic
Yes.
doesn't mean you need to see it. I mean,
Yeah.
everybody's working with their own budget, their own maybe limited time off of work.
Yeah.
The highlight destinations are cool, right? And if you want to, absolutely, by all means, let's send you there. But there's also so much to see. I know you said the Galapagos. The Galapagos is unlike anywhere else
Anything.
in the world. I mean, again,
Yes.
I mentioned I'm an animal lover, right? Like it nowhere else are you seeing these
Yes.
animals and getting so close to them and really having this untouched experience. But the
Absolutely.
Galapagos
I
is
burst into tears the first Panga ride I took. I just was like, this is a dream come true. I was just a mess, but it was just such an awesome experience. So, yeah,
yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, there's so much. I mean, again, I try to understand clients' interest and then recommend different destinations to them. Also understand their ways of traveling and what they like to do. I mean,
Yeah.
you mentioned Palawan too. I've been there, but you can find a little bit more luxurious properties, but you're not really finding the high end. So if you I have a high end traveler, I know that that's probably not going to be the right destination for them. Albania also really coming up and a great time to visit now because it's not super crowded yet, but it's going to get there. One place you did not mention that I am actively talking to my clients about is Vietnam. And I know I mentioned it earlier for their hospitality. I recently went to Vietnam in February and I was blown away.
Did you love it?
Absolutely loved it. I think it had a really nice combination of the things that I personally like to look for in a trip:
Mhm.
culture, food, sights to see, the history, and the affordability, right? Because
Mhm.
you can and I did have some really top-notch luxury experiences at a fraction of the cost of what they would be elsewhere. And I really, really appreciated the hospitality and the people in Vietnam. And we're from the US and it takes a long time to get there. So I know that that is something challenging to some people because they don't like to be on a plane for so long or sitting for so long, or whether or not they can afford business class. Let's get you in the points game. That's a whole nother
There
conversation.
you go.
But
Exactly.
really is a special place, and I would definitely recommend taking that leap, getting on that flight. I know I talk to a lot of people too who are intimidated by going all the way to Asia. And honestly, I was at first a few years ago, and then I went and I loved
Loved
it
it.
to the point where
Yes.
I said my next Asia trip is going to be a long one, and then I went for 2 months.
Mhm. Yeah.
So that's definitely a great destination. And then for folks who have a little bit more time to spend, I would say minimum in Vietnam 2 weeks.
Mhm.
Period. But
Mhm.
there's a lot of other amazing Southeast Asia countries where you can also explore at an affordable cost. So if you do have more time, You can pair a Vietnam trip with Thailand, with
Mhm.
Malaysia, Singapore, the Philippines. So maybe you just make a larger trip of it and spend more
Absolutely.
time there. But I strongly, strongly recommend Vietnam.
Before we close, how can people find you if they want to contact you for travel advice, planning a trip, all those great things?
My website and my business is called Elevate Your Escapes. And on my website, which I am redoing right now, very excited about that, but it's a lot of work. I have information about all sorts of travel destinations and how to get in contact with me. My email,
Okay.
very easy, is LEL, short for Eleanor, at elevateyourescapes.com. You can find that on the website. I also have social media if you're on there: Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, sharing, really cool facts and photos and experiences from all around the world. I'm always hopping somewhere, and one of my biggest passions is sharing that with others.
Mhm.
So I love to share that and help others plan these types of trips. The one thing I do want to say is that you might think some of these places we're talking about are not accessible, but we might be able to find a way. So definitely let's chat, because
Mhm.
we could find you, let's say, maybe a business class on points that helps you get
Mhm.
somewhere, a more affordable trip to one of these places that we've been talking about as luxury destinations. So it's always worth exploring, or we can help you plan for several years out so that you'd have the time to save and really put money toward that trip. I talk to a lot of people in my peer set, 30s, and I started these conversations in my 20s. People are asking me, how do you afford to do this? Right? Because you see me
Mhm.
like all around the world.
Sure.
And I have
Sure.
those strategies, right? It's not eating takeout every night. So I'm
That's
happy to
right.
happy to discuss any of that with any listeners
Absolutely.
here, and really share my favorite destinations, favorite travel operators, local people, and tips for responsible travel too, right? Because we've talked a
Mhm.
lot about places that are known for their animals. How do we experience these places without leaving our footprint in the local areas and making a mess and creating issues for local people, animals, and the environment there? So things I'm really
Absolutely.
passionate about and would love to talk to you about.
This has been super fun and time has flown by. But thank you so much, Eleanor. And just in closing, I just want to let everybody know that I'll put all of her information and Elevate Your Escapes links in the notes for the podcast. So you can find them there. And you can reach out to me at Shannon at aladywelltraveled.com. That's Shannon at aladywelltraveled.com, and that's traveled with two L's. Please refer me to your friends and family. And if you'd like to leave a review, I'd appreciate that as well. I want you to always remember God created this big, beautiful world out there just for you. And all you have to do is get out there and see it. Until we meet again, bye bye.